Vihan. I live in Australia. Today I'm going to be telling you about Hitler, who ran a party called Nazis. I'm going to tell you his whole story and stay tuned for more videos that we release. To be aware of the newest videos released on this channel, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a video. So, now we're gonna start. So, as previously mentioned, you probably think Hitler was born in Germany, but no, he was actually born in Austria. His dad was an Austrian man, but his dad was very angry at him because Hitler didn't like Austria. He liked Germany lots. He had an older brother at the age of 14 and a younger at 6. His older brother ran away because his dad punished him lots, leaving young Hitler, who was about 7 years old, to do most of the chores and get punished. So, his mother cared about him so much that it was half of him gets cared on and then half of him gets beaten on by his father. So you probably think how it got to a rate where he took over basically Europe. It went like this because his brother died of measles when he was only 6. And then neighbors made weird comments of the boy talking to trees and staying at the cemetery, staring at the stars. After this, he went to class, and then the teacher didn't like his acts because he was wearing everything about Germany. He had a flag and he liked Germany so much. But then his dad one day said to him, "You're gonna be an Austrian person just like me, citizen." But he said, "No, I'm gonna be an artist." And then he went to an artist class after his father died. In the artist class, he failed and he had to return back to where he lived because his mother was very sick. Then she died. Then after she died, he moved to Germany to find work. And he was basically homeless for a few years, 1 or 2. And to avoid military work, he moved to Germany. In Germany, he lived in homeless shelters for a few days, and he drew postcards himself, which he sold. He didn't make that much, but it was enough for him to survive. Then when World War I came, he joined the army, and despite being very deadly, he said it was the best time of his life because the people he worked with provided him with caringness and love and compassion. They all cared for another and each other. After World War I, he was injured twice, but he has also been lucky many times. After World War I, when there was peace, Germany had to pay off lots of money, which they didn't have because the economy was bust from the war preparations. So they had to pay the other countries, which is about 7 of their countries. And when they didn't have the money to pay them, so they started printing more money, but that didn't do anything. It just made money more worthless. For example, if you go to Australia, there's not that many notes. And if you go to India, there's 10 times as much as notes. So $1 Australian equals to 50 rupees. At that time, $1 equal to trillions of marks, German marks. Then, bread cost 45 billion marks. After that, America gave Germany a few loans, but of course Germany had to pay them back. Then this event happened which the Americans didn't like, so they wanted their money back. But since Germany couldn't give it, there were lots of parties forming. Also, one which was called the Nazis, is there. Nazis was led by Hitler, and you probably think it was just because he, went somewhere and then he got up in the hype. But no, it's because he was, after the military had to be reduced, he worked for a government agency. The government paid him to be an informer. So there was this party called the Workers' Party, and in the Workers' Party, he actually thought it was a Workers' Party, but it actually wasn't. It was a party about fairness and stuff, and the people had lots of beliefs that he also believed in, but he joined it and quit the army. His speaking skills impressed them, so they made him leader. Then after that, there was lots of poverty with the people of Germany. So then there was so many protests, and then Hitler thought that he was gonna take it, and he had a few people called the SA, storm attachments, and they were basically meant to protect Nazi group meetings. After that, they marched the streets, and then hoping the police will go in their side, but no, the police fired on them. Then Hitler went to court, and they could have sentenced him for life, but they just sentenced him for 5 years. But he got out in 9. It was actually a pleasant hotel stay for him because he was on the streets. Then after that, Germany was threatened by many countries demanding their money. So then there were so many parties, but in the years coming, the Nazis weren't that high. For example, at one point they only had 2.6% of the votes of the general people. So then after that, he voted for president, but he lost to the World War I general. Then he told the World War I general to make him chancellor, and so his friend works there and said, let's make him chancellor, and then he can work for us, and then we will have more fame. But instead, something else happened. So when the Nazis were very high, and he started undoing the treaties of Versailles, then the German parliament building was set on fire, and many of the people thought it was the Nazis. But they said it was the communists or Jews. Then Hitler was the president because the World War I general died. Then when he became president, he was basically gonna declare World War II. So then he started declaring World War II, and the first thing that he wanted to do was there's one piece of Germany here and then one tiny piece of Germany here, and he hated that because there was Poland in the middle of it. So he was about to attack Poland when the Allies said, if you attack them, we will attack you. So then he didn't want to fight a war on two sides, because then the Russians will think that he's attacking him. So then he made an alliance with the Russians, and they both attacked Poland. Then, basically the Allies is, a group of countries such as, I'm pretty sure Spain, a few islands, UK, and a few more, and United States. So then they all declared war on him, but he surprisingly did good. And then after that, he was the most famous person in Germany. So then he made a few concentration camps, and in there he sent so many people, such as Jews and communists, that he thought were the problem. And any people that basically printed anything bad about him to concentration camps. They were basically tortured there and killed there. Even the kids weren't spared. The fame kind of went to his mind. After that, the war was starting, and Sweden was shipping iron ore to Germany. And then the UK and the other countries of the Allies said, stop that, otherwise we will stop you. And then they said no. So then UK went over there and put a few mines in the ocean, so forcing any boat trying to go all the way to Germany to sink. So they had to stop. When a tanker, which is a ship, was going there from Germany, the UK blew it up and sunk it. Then after that, Hitler knew what was going on, because then slowly they wouldn't let him get his iron ore. So he had to secure them. So then basically UK took over Norway and Sweden, and then Hitler launched it and took over it, because basically the Sweden and the Norway people were with him. After that, Japan, Italy, and Germany became friends. Japan became friends because they wanted to get some materials. Because when first America landed on Japan, they started getting all the money, and then Japan's economy was very bad. So then they attacked China, and in China they took over a bunch of land. And when they took over that bunch of land, they had metal, and then the Allies said, stop that, otherwise we'll declare war on you, and then they weren't ready to attack. So then Germany was over there taking advantage of the weakened places. Then the Japanese people thought that wasn't fair, so they took over a bunch of German islands, and they basically beat Russia, which no one was basically expecting. So after this, Hitler was going to basically bomb UK, because the UK, it has the world's strongest navy at that time. So then he sent a few ships, and his plan was he'll send a few ships, but he thought they can't beat him, he can't beat them on water. So instead he sent a few aeroplanes, jets and stuff, and they bombed them. So the children were sent away from their parents in the countryside to be safe. At that time, Stalin, who is the Russian president for that time, he made an alliance with Germany, and they both became teams. But at the end, Germany thought they'll turn their backs on Russia and attack them. So that's what happened. They made a large attack, and they took about 300 miles of Russia. So then the winter came, and the oil was freezing, so they couldn't go on. But Hitler forced them to keep going, so they keep going. But the Russians were trained for the cold, so they attacked him and they pushed him back. Then both teams waited for spring. But before waiting for spring, Russia did one more attack with the special forces, which are trained for crazy depths of coldness. So when they attacked, they basically lost. The Germans basically lost, had to go back, and all the countries attacked them at once. So that is all we have learned today about the Nazis and Hitler. And then Hitler was assassinated. So this is going to be the end of this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode, and bye friends.